All right, folks, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Crafts with John. You know what time it is? You know what time it is? We go live every day. First time in a week, though, right? Had a little vacation there. We're going to YOLO. We're going to start things off with a big, fat YOLO to get going here. Now, I put the videos out last week. I republished the video. So what I'm going to do is I chop up the morning show. I take this YOLO segment, and I made like little 3-minute videos out of them and republished them. And nobody believed me that I was doing this live. I got a bunch of feedback saying you're cheating for one roll. I'm not cheating. I'm just picking apart the live show. So if you don't believe me, come to the live. Anyway, we started out with 20K. And remember, I'll reset the table here. We assumed that we had some jackpot win somewhere. Won 20,000 bucks, and we're going to YOLO to 100K. I started out by going 6,400 across. We worked ourselves up now to over $9,000. And what I'm going to do here is this. I have two choices, right? I could stay at 6,400 and win my $1,400 every day, assuming that we keep winning. Or what I'm going to do here is level up. So as soon as I get to the next level where I can level my bet up, I'm going to exponentially kind of grow this thing up a little bit. So instead of going 6,400 today, we're going to go with 9,600 because I've got 9,975 in profit. So we're going to go 9,600 across for the one shot, and we're just going to keep and when I get to where I can go higher than that, I'll go higher than that. We'll start leveling ourselves up as we go. Let's go 9,600 across, which again, that should get us to a pretty good, I don't know, we'll see. Let's just see if we can do it. I think I got to do this probably 4 times to get to the next level. So let's get some purples in here for those. Let's see, we need 2, 4, 6, 8 purples there. And again, these will be 1,500 on each side. And we'll go 1,800 on the 6 and 8. And there we go. We're at 9,600 across. Again, the whites for me represent thousands. I don't yet have my customized chips. I don't yet have enough or yellow chips to represent. Anyway, here we go. 9,600 across. Let's get one shot in. We're looking to win about 2K. Depending on which one of those things rolls out. Here we go. We're going to set our dice. And again, I'm just going to set them because I feel like it. This is not me throwing. This is just me walking up to a table and dropping my entire bankroll onto the table for one shot. Let's go. Let's get one win today. See how we do? We got a 6-5 yo, of course, right? We're going to burn one. Somebody wrote me in the comments last week, why aren't you playing the field? I'm like, I could. I have money in here to do it, to play the field, but I'm not going to do that today. We're just going to go ahead and roll, stay in the numbers, the box numbers. Until we get super profit, we're not going to do that. There's a 325, which pays 2,100 bucks, and we're done. So we YOLO'd it today. We have a 325, $2,100 win, which sends us off to the next level here. We're going to be at 11,000 and change profit. I think one more win or 2 more wins from there, we can jump this thing up and go with 16,000 across. That'll be our next move will be to go to 16,000 across. So let's clean this up, call it a win, and YOLO lives on to fight one more day. I'll clean the rack, I'll get my totals right, and we'll do it again tomorrow. That was pretty fun. All right. How's everybody doing? Been a while. Haven't seen y'all in quite a while here. Making sure my screen's right. It's been a hot minute because I was on vacation. I went to Jersey and saw a bunch of family. And part of that trip was to go see some friends, play craps with some friends. So I'll tell you about that here in just a minute. Because it was actually pretty fun day, pretty good experience. I know Mike has talked about it. I'm not sure if Jeff has done a trip report yet. I expect that Jeff probably will for sure. But let's go ahead and talk about kind of what happened there. So, oh, that's the wrong screen. I'm going to go back. How do I go back? Back. Come on. I'm not good with the Stream Deck yet. Haven't quite figured this thing out. Let's go to the announcement screen. Is that better? There we go. The announcements. Why are we not showing the thing? It's on the wrong. Oh, I know what's going on. Hold on. This thing is on the wrong. Hold on a second. I got to fix my screen. My fault. Screen with video with table. No. Hold on. We are on the wrong screen and it won't. It's showing the PDF, that's why. Let's get that thing out of there. I think that's what I want. Let's see, is that right? Why is my announcements not showing? 2 of 8, hold on. That thing's just gotta go away. There we go. Haha. See, take a week off, got to work my stuff. All right, the announcement. So today we're gonna run and we're gonna talk about the AC trip report. Of course, I'm gonna give you all that, how that all went. I do want to do a recap of Friday night fights. We did a test run while I was gone. I played with Dylan from Skill and Luck, who, by the way, is doing well. He's going to have a second procedure done, get things fixed up. But we played together, and it was long, right? We went long, and I got a bunch of comments of this type. It was boring. Okay, I didn't want to flip him a bunch of shit. I was late, whatever. We weren't super entertaining. But it's long, right? The thing was that it was over an hour to get it done, and it just wasn't great. There was some confusion with the rules that we had to kind of go over during the game. I think we're set on the rules now, and we'll talk about the rules, including where's the VIG. I got the where's the VIG comment out from a lot of people, and I really wanted to make this thing easy and fast, right? So I'm really concerned about time with the head-to-head craps. I don't want to go over even a half an hour if we can do it. So I thought that getting the VIGs out of the way, taking them away from the table, means less change to make. It's less math to do. It's just less maneuvering of stuff. And that's why there's no VIGs. But people were like, hey, where's the VIG? And in the essence of, in the trying to save time, we ended up making more confusion. So we'll put the VIGs back most likely and have to just deal with it because I just don't want to make it a thing. So that's that. I have another slide here coming up to talk only about the Friday night test runs. And of course, I want to remind you to jump on, you're already here, of course, but Casino Gaming TV is the home for all things right now, craps, but hopefully other things later. So here we go. Next up then to talk about is this. Let's get the next slide here. Let's do the AC trip report. And we all won a bunch of money. And that's the long and short of it. We did really, really well. It was cool. So I was going to go to Philly and AC. My initial plan was to go and meet Chris from Dice DGen up in Philly for a night. But the night we were going to go, there was where the casino there is, there's two. There's one right by the stadiums in Philadelphia, one up a little more north, the Harris. And there was a Phillies game, a Flyers game, and a Sixers game all the same day at like 1, 4, and 7. Getting there was going to be a nightmare, and my stepmother, who I was staying with, didn't want to go, so we just didn't go that night. So we just went on Sunday. And first of all, big shout out to Jeff and Clay from East Coast Craps, who came driving up from Delaware, right, 3 hours plus to get there by 10 o'clock we met at 10 o'clock in the morning in Harris. Chris from Dice DGen drove down to see us. Mike from On Point Craps drove down to see us. A subscriber joined us, and Ted, Midnight Train, drove down to see us too. We had people from everywhere driving in to this event. I say it's an event, just coming into play, right? It was just super fun to meet, but it was like early in the morning. It was like a 10 o'clock a.m. thing. We got there was a $10 table, which was full, of course. We said, when are we going to get the next table open up? They said 11 o'clock it opens up. So we tried to find some food because nobody had eaten yet. Off we go to find food, everything's closed. There's nothing but a Starbucks, and that was it. So we couldn't actually get it done, which is unfortunate. We waited and waited, and we got onto our table, and out we start. And we all got our spots. Everybody kind of picked where they wanted to be. I actually chose to play at the right side of the stick right one, which I don't normally do. Matter of fact, I almost never shoot from that side, but I've been working on a way to throw, a new toss style, that's more of a knuckleball toss from the right side. I do that here at home. And, I work my chopper all the time, but never from the right side. I work it from the left side or straight out. So I thought, I'm going to use this as kind of a training session. I'm going to sit on the right side here. I'm going to throw those two tosses from the right. And I warned everybody, like, I'm leaning, or I'm easing into this throw. So, be careful. We started out and Ted had a great throw. The first guy with the dice throws, I think he threw a 30 the first time through, which was great. And Jeff and I were both like, well, shit, I'm already at my goal. Like, one shooter in, we already had 120%. And we're like, well, okay, we could go eat now. But that's not the way you do it, right? And here's one of the points I have to make, which is when you're playing with friends or a group of people like this, it's not normal, right? You don't normally get to do that. And the social part of this thing was we're all going to hang out and play craps together, where you can't have one guy have a great roll and everybody leave, and that's your whole day. So I don't know what Jeff did. I backed my bets way down. I was already at basically my goal. And he sniped me a couple times because I you know me, I go out headless horseman, right? Don't pass, couple of come bets, he, come out sevens me, and then he hits a point, in the next one. So he cost me a few bucks before I got back up again. It gets to East Coast Craps, and he has a great roll. I think he threw 22 or 23. I want to say it was 27 total, but like 22 box numbers. It was a great roll. And again, I'm up a little bit. It comes to me. I throw the knuckleball, and I get like, I think a 16 or 17 roller in there. And again, and I'm at this point, and I'll show you my chip rack in a minute. I was kind of short stacking it there, right? I was kind of short stacking. I was like, well, I'm already at my goal. I don't want to go nuts. Even on myself, I don't want to go nuts. So just eased in. I did like a 66 inside with a couple of come bets. The thing is, on a $15 table, there's nowhere to run down, right? There's no regression point below that 66 if you're going to be an inside player. So and at $25 tables, it's the same thing. The regression piece is hard. So going in heavy with the bankroll isn't easy. I bought him for 500, so I didn't have a ton of bankroll behind me to make it all happen. So I did what I could with the shorter stacks, and it actually makes, I think, again, short stacking makes you a better player. It goes to Jeff. Jeff has a tough throw. The first throw was a 0.7, and then it goes around the table. DGen, I think, had a 5 roller, 6, maybe a 7 roller, and Mike from On Point, actually no, went to Lou first. Lou's one of our subscribers. He's Steel Legion, by the way, over in Discord. He had a great roll. He had a really, really good roll. I think it was in the 20s, and after a couple of getting hit early. Because what happened is on Jeff, I went horseman. Did I go horseman on Jeff? I didn't go horseman on Jeff. I bypassed the come out roll, and then I went out with a small set of bets up there, and he hit me really quick. And then DJ I lost a little bit on, and then On Point came out, and I was actually even or a little down at that point. When it got to Lou rolled good, got me a little bit up. Mike from On Point Craps and I were kind of diagonal to each other. Whoops, there goes my light. We were kind of diagonal from one another, and I kept giving him shit the whole time. And I said, don't take offense, but I put money on the don't pass, and he laughs, and he gets his point set, and then I put, 1 in the come, and I put odds on the point. It was a 4. And so I don't pass odds and come bet, and I won on him. And he was the first guy I made money, right? It was great. And so it comes back around again. And again, the same thing's happening, right? I think Ted's second shot wasn't as good as his first one. 2 guys from the end were shooting. It gets to East Coast, and then me again. We both had another 10 or 15-ish rolls. And then it gets to Jeff. And I think by that time, by losing a couple here, I was about $100 up. Nothing to shout out about. I'd given back my 20% to 10%. And here comes Jeff. And because he 0.7'd out the first time, I held back, right? I went horseman. I put a $50 don't on him. I was going to go to 2-1. 51, 25, 25, 25 was my plan for Jeff. Well, come out 7. Okay, great. Come out 7. Takes my $50. I put another 50 out there. I'm like, he's not going to do it again. He does it again. Okay. Bypass the come out roll. We lost $100 on Jeff. And he sets his point, which I think was a 4. Maybe it was a 4. I don't know. And I put out a couple of come bets, right? Come bet goes up. Come bet goes up. Hits his point, right? No. I got 3 come bets set. And then he's hitting everything around my come bets. Everything but the 3 come bets I have. He hits like 4 or 5 rolls in a row. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll take the L here. And I put money on the other number. So I was all the way across with my come bets. And he hit one of them, which I same betted, and it was the point. He hits the point, I've got everything covered. All right, I got whatever I've got, $81 out there in place bets, and I got 3 come bets out there. And he's rolling good. And I'm like, okay, Jeff's got it figured out. And I put max odds up on my 3 come bets. Working. Like I do. Work them. Work the odds. And the guy says, odds are working. Like, odds are working. And I said, matter of fact, if they're working, everything's working. That's what you do, right? If you're going to work it, half of it, work all of it. I worked all of it, freaking come out 7, right? So I go down like 340 in like 1 roll, which was a dumb decision on me. My part. It was probably the worst choice I made all day. So on his 40 roller, this turned out to be a 40 roller by Jeff. I started that roll out, down about 340 between losing the come outs on my don't pass and that big getting whacked on that come out 7. I started that big ass roll down. Well, he ends up going on a heater, and I decided to just kind of jump into it. And I went 160 across. I bet the hard ways and my hard 4, hard 10, and he hit the hard 10, I think 2 or 3 times. So I got back to not only even on that roll, but up 500 on Jeff's big roll. So I went, he hurt me really bad, and I worked it all the way back up to being up $500. And now we're coming back around. It goes back to DGen, to this other guy that was somebody we didn't know. Lou shot again, Mike shot again, Ted shot again, and I'm sitting here and I got 500 in my rack, and I'll show you my rack. Actually, let me show you the rack now. It's actually pretty good. I'll show you the rack. The rack for me looked like this at this time. I had set it all back up to here. And what I had was my initial investment locked up. I had a $500 profit locked up, and I'm like, I'm not touching this at all, right? And again, it's coming back around to where it's going to be Mike from On Point, it's going to be Ted, it's going to be Clay, and there's two other people, then Clay, then me. And I've got this $100 extra here, my extra sort of surplus profit, and like $50, not even $50. I had 45, what I had, 40, 30, I had $40 in front of my rack. That's what I had. And I'm like, well, what am I going to do now? Right? I got to survive Mike. Actually, I think I survived after Jeff. I think I survived DGen, Lou, Mike, Ted, two random guys, East Coast Craps, and then myself with this. I literally made that $40 go around the table all those times because I was not going to jump in here. Even though the table was hot, I was not going to jump into my 500 profit and burn this in case the table went cold. I'm like, I'm locking up a purple chip here. And so I earmarked this. I said, I'm going to keep the $100 in case I need it, meaning in case we're doing okay, and I want to jump in and get a little bit hotter with something. So I kept this to the side as like a side bankroll, but I really played with two $15 bets and $10 extra that I literally used as less than single odds on a bet. And I worked that all the way around. And matter of fact, I used it on the don't pass on somebody. They had to come out they had to come out aces, I think, like this. And I'm like, oh great. I pulled that right back up like this, moved it to the pass line, and then I went 5 and 9 with it. That's why that's how I played that hand. And I got to the 5 and 9. I took one hit. I grabbed the 6. Same bet, and I had another $100 in front of the rack. And that's how I worked that whole second half of the session. I don't think anybody saw that. I don't think anybody saw me doing that because it was a great table, and I'm like, I'm playing that table like I'm down. I was playing it like I was down money with that little tiny bit of stack. I could have made so much more money had I decided to go heavy on Mike and on Chris and on Lou the second time around, but I didn't. I didn't want to touch the 500. And because I limited myself to what I had, and we talked about short stack betting, we talk about that all the time. Talking about short stack betting, I literally limited myself because I did not want to burn the profit that I'd worked so hard to achieve. Because when you go down 300, I was down to 200, and I worked it back up to being up 500. There's no way I'm going to put that at risk. So I survived. All those shooters got around to me. And on my last shot, we decided we were getting hungry. It was like 3.5 hours in. And we're like, it's the last shot. And I said to everybody, I'm going to try the chopper. I said, I haven't thrown the chopper from the right side table ever. I'm going to do it here. I go to the don't pass, right? I'm like, I'm shooting from the don't. But all you guys watch me. I'm shooting from the don't. Be careful. Well, doesn't everybody freaking go, ATS? And by the way, we hit the ATS a few times. Jeff hit it once. I think Ted hit it and Clay hit it. I think we hit it 3 times at this point. And I'm like, I'm shooting from the don't. Everybody goes ATS. And what I had in my rack on myself, by the way, was this. Let me get my money back. At that point, I had locked up another $100 in profit. So I had $600 locked up in my rack. And what I had was 2 stacks of $15. One of them I went to the pass line with. And so I had one $15 shot and one $10 shot. That's all I had in my rack that I was going to shoot with myself on, right? And I'm like, I'm locking that other stuff up. So here I go, last shot of the day. I put $15 on the pass line for myself, and I establish a point. And I put the other $15 in the come, and I had $10 sitting there. And so the come bet, I make a number, the come bet moves, I put those $10 up as odds on that come bet. That's all I had on myself. That's all I had. My rack was, quote unquote, virtually to me empty because I wasn't touching the back row. And off I go on a mini heater. And I forget what I had left. I don't know what the numbers were, but I had 2 left for the tall and 1 left for the small. In my first roll, by the way, I had only the 2 and 12 left. I should tell that story too. But on this last roll of mine, I only had 1 on the small and 2 on the tall to hit. And all I did was hit my come bet once, and I replaced it. Second come bet and a place bet. That's all I had I was making nothing on myself. I'm doing pretty good. I eventually worked myself from those 2 little bets, by the way, from the 1 come bet with single odds. I worked that up to 160 across by getting come bets to hit and replacing, and coming across. I worked myself to 160 across, believe it or not. But I hadn't really collected until the very, very end of that roll. Anyway, off I go, and I'm not paying attention to the ATS. Why? I didn't bet it. Because all I had was $15 and 10. That's all I had. And I'm like, well, do I go pass line and ATS? No. Or pass line and a come bet to try and build it up. I did that. I went pass line, come bet to try and build, and it worked for me. Little did I know, I was working on the ATS. I had no idea where I was. I'm just throwing the dice. I'm working the chopper, and it was good. Mike's at the end telling me, he's coaching me. He's like, hey, those were too high. It was beautiful. He's giving me all this great advice during the shot, And don't I hit the small, right? I hit the small. Everybody goes nuts. I'm like, why is everybody so happy for a freaking 3, right? Everybody goes crazy. Here, the whole table won on the small. I didn't even know I was there. I wasn't betting it. Didn't pay attention. Didn't bet it for myself. A couple of folks threw me a little tip as a thank you for that. And then I kept rolling. I didn't get the all on that one. My earlier roll, I was only the 2 and 12 away from the all. I didn't get either one of them, but I was only those 2 shots away. I don't think we saw a 12 all day. I can't remember anybody rolling a 12 that entire session, but yeah, I did that twice. So I worked myself from $30 or $40. So $15 either on the line or in the come or on a number. Sometimes I would do the 5 and 9 or whatever. And I worked that from $30 to 160 3 times, right? Twice I didn't pull down at 160. Twice I got to 160 and I said, okay, I'm gonna get 1 green chip from some number and then I'm gonna pull the whole thing down, and that's when the 7 came. That happened to me twice. On mine, I got to 160 and I pulled it. As soon as I got to 160, I pulled all my inside bets and I went back into the come with a single bet, and that's when I 7'd out. So I made money on myself in that last roll, and I ended up coloring up about $700 total. The 600 that I had saved, plus about 100 or so that I had on that last shot. So ended up being a good trip. More than anything else, it's fun, right? And I literally, I think Mike from One Point had said this. I bought $300 to lose today. I didn't even care. I brought the 500 that I bought in, didn't even care if I won or lost with it. I just didn't want to lose it fast. Here's my goals. Didn't want to lose it fast. Wanted to make sure I shot good. That was my two total goals today, or that day, because I don't want to, look good in front of my friends. But it's about playing with the friends. It's all about playing with the friends. It's not about winning, although we all won money. Everybody at that table won good money. Again, got to meet new subscriber Lou. Was great to meet him in person. He was really, really awesome. He and Ted hooked us up through comps for lunch afterwards. We hung out. It was a fantastic day. Meeting folks was the thing. When you play with people, it's different. It's different than when you play with yourself. If I had shown up at a table and I had won the $200 that I'd won on Ted at my local casino, I would have been gone in that first shooter. I would have been the hell out of there. But because you're playing with everybody has to get a shot, right? So, and it was great because Clay got a great shot. I had a great shot. Jeff had a rough first shot. Dejan had a mediocre first shot. Lou had a great first shot. And here comes Mike. And now we're like, okay, now we're all up a little bit. Let's do this. And you want to do it again and again. And you stay there longer than you probably should. But the point of it was to play with people and just vibe with all your buds. And that's what we did. We had a great time vibing with everybody. It was so much fun to meet people. And you just don't know. Like, you meet them online and it's like, you kind of have an idea of what people are like. And you meet them in person, like, this is fantastic, And having Lou come out there, it was a bonus on top of everything else, because we only corresponded a couple of times over emails. You don't know, is there an axe murderer coming to see me? I have no idea. Lou turns out to be this amazing dude and good thrower and just a fun guy. So we had a great, great time. Although, like I said, we probably played too long. I think we all got kind of tired. We're a bunch of old farts, right? Everybody's like, oh, my sugar's down. I got to get some food. So off we go. But it was good. It was really, really Really, really fun. And I would do that again in a heartbeat. And in fact, DiceCon's going to be just like that. We're going to go out there and I'm bringing money that I'd love to win when people play, but I'm planning to not. I'm planning to just kind of hang and have fun and do that kind of thing. So I'm looking at some of the comments here as we go up. I see, Mike, yeah, you were down at one point as well, and Jeff brought you back. That was an interesting time because I was down for dumb reasons. Like I said, I was being a little hard-headed. I was playing the horseman. I was trying to force it. And we talk about rhythm all the time, and the rhythm wasn't working for me. The horseman rhythm was not on that day. Like we were hitting too many come-out sevens. We were hitting, it was bouncing around where the come-bets were going. It just wasn't a good one for the horseman. And I lost when I should have won. I stuck with it a little too long when I finally changed strategies. And I'll show you what I did. I went to inside betting. And it worked out for me with the group that we had, and it was just really, really solid. Midmo, did I play the pass line for other shooters? No, I did not. I played the don't pass on other shooters. The only time I played the pass line on another shooter, and I'm lying here, I played it once or twice, is when I'm going to play the ATS. And I never played the ATS. And the guys were laughing at me because I don't play it. We hit it 4 times. I wasn't on it any one of those 4 times. I just never play it because. And I don't know what the stats were. Jeff or Mike will know the stats better than I do. But we each shot, I think, 3 times. There was probably 4 or 5 other people in there. There was probably, that has to be 40 different shooter sessions, right? That came out. And along with all their come out sevens, at least 40 times somebody shot the dice anew. And within there was a bunch of sevens, come out sevens. All of that are losses to me. 5-5-5, 5-5-5. It's loss after loss after loss. I feel like it's a bleed. I never play it unless I'm shooting and I feel like I'm shooting well. The only time I didn't play it was the time I hit it today because I had a very, very short stack and didn't do it. But I typically don't do it unless I'm playing the ATS and I play the pass line so that a come out 7 doesn't take my ATS bet away. That's the only reason why I would ever play it. Greg would have lost his shirt in this session. Greg would have lost his shirt. This was such a hot table. And by hot, I mean the sevens came, but they came at the right times. There was a lot of come out sevens. There was not a lot of points not being hit. There was a lot of points that were hit. Hot table. In fact, what got me out of it was not just the fact that Jeff rolled 40. It was that Jeff rolled 4s and 10s. I think he had, Jeff will tell you better than I will. I think he had, oh my God, probably 7 10s or 9 10s and 7 4s in that long roll. I was on every one of them. Like I hit every one of those things, all the hard ways. That's what brought me back. I had the 4s pressed up. I was collecting black on the outside plus my hard way hit. That got me from negative to positive. That's what did it for me was the 4 and 10. Jeff crushed that. He was the hero for sure. Jeff was the hero. Clay, East Coast, and Ted Midnight Train were amazing. They were so good at shooting. They were very consistent. I think Ted had a 30, a 9, or 30, a 7, and like a 17. I forget what East Coast did. Hit everyone he did was great. He was in the teens every time. I was in the teens every single time. It was good. We had really, really solid all the way around shooting. And I learned it quick, right? The horseman got beat enough times early that I just jumped off of it. I went to something different. I just went whenever. Yeah, but we had a lot of points. There was a lot of points being hit. It was fantastic. Anyway, fun time, fun trip. Good to see everybody in person, shake hands. Jeff, by the way, I think Jeff posted pictures somewhere. I had them on my phone still. They are, Jeff's tall. Jeff isn't joking when he says he's 6'4". He's all a 6'4". And when we took our picture, I think I was up to his elbows because I'm not tall. But it was fun to hang out and shake people's hands in person. No masks, of course. It was great. It was super, super cool. That's my trip report. It was fun. It was fun. We made money. Didn't plan on making money, but I was glad that we made some money. It was so, and yeah, door sell 100%. There was so much positive, and we were just, and you know what's funny? You meet somebody for the first time, and you're polite for a minute, and then we're just flipping each other's shit the entire time. There was there was barbs happening back and forth, and it was just fun. It was like instant friends. It was really, really cool. And Mike from On Point made a great toast at the end to sort of seal that in for us. It was cool. So, all right, let's move on. Let's talk about head-to-head craps really quick. I want to make sure I cover this topic before I move into the topic of the day, which is this. We're going to make some adjustments for it. One is I want to target 30 minutes per match. It's got to be 30 minutes per match. I think we have to roll random to make it, again, to stay in time, we got to roll random. That was a bone of contention the other night. The 3 rounds are right. I don't know if they're the right size. I don't know if the bet sizes are right. We may keep the bets. I'm going to talk about the bets, and we're going to, of course, rotate the venue. We need dealers and we need refs to help us through this thing. We definitely need more than just the person who's on the camera running the whole show, to kind of make sure that bets were paid right and all that kind of stuff. So if you have a heart to help, you want to be part of this thing, drop me an email or drop Jeff an email. I'm John at procraps.net. He's Jeff at midatlanticraps.com. Get with either of us and let us know that you want to help out. I know that DGen, Chris, you're gonna help us deal for sure. But we need people who want to help referee and that kind of thing. So if you want to do it, let me know. If you want to play, let me know. I'm going to put a sign-up sheet out there. I want to get this thing pumped up. So that's the quick note on head-to-head craps. And the next thing I want to talk about really is, which is the subject of the day, which is going to be the bankroll management. I'm going to start with this. And Jacob from Wage Myth said I could use this. He said, use it, make a book out of it if you want. I don't care. I think this is great. Strategy accounts for your wins. Bankroll accounts for your losses. Your job as a player is to connect those two things, okay? You need to be able to outlast or attack a bad run, right? You need to know how and when to attack a good run. And you got to have bankroll to do that. So one of the things that I found was that when I short stacked myself, which again, I do this all the time, but on a table of that was going in that direction, short stacking yourself feels very limiting. So my bankroll, although I had a big bankroll at the end, $1,300 at the end there, it didn't account for the strategy that I wanted to play. I had to play with what I had. So he was ringing in my ear the whole time, like, use your bankroll smartly and make sure you're playing the right strategy for what you've got. And that's kind of where I ended up here on the roll. So the exposure conversation today, and by the way, I didn't show you my mug. Look at this mug I got from my brother. I drink my coffee on the dark side. This mug, you can't tell, look at the size of this. That's my hand. This is a 40-ounce coffee mug. This thing is like a foot tall. It's crazy. That's my new morning coffee cup for a while. Anyway, what's more valuable, your time or your money? And this, I think, is an interesting thing for us to think about here. Let's go back to the table and talk about this. Time versus money is a big thing to think about when you're talking about exposure. And let's put yourself in the spot that I was in, okay? Now again, I'm an extreme money manager, right? So here I am with my locked up funds. I'll get my other chips from the thing here. And when you go out and say, well, what am I gonna do? And this is not, again, a short stack conversation per se, but if all you've got is this, let me actually take all this away. I'm gonna pull these chips out of here just so they're not distracting. But remember that there's that profit there that I could have dipped into, okay? I'll even take the $100 away. And here's where you are. You've got this 15, 15, and 10, okay? What do you do with that? And what you'd like to do is go across, right? Or go inside. If I'm at a $10 table, at least I can go almost inside with that, right? I can get 3 of them at least. Here, all I can do is either get the 5 and 9 or get the 6 and the 8, okay? If we get the 6 and the 8, like so, you got $2 left, and now you're waiting, right? And everybody says to you, well, bet the 6 and 8. Play the 6, 7, 8 if you can do it, right? The 6, 7, 8, the 3 easiest numbers to roll, right? If you can make the don't pass work and get the 6, 7, 8. Now, what happens here is this. There's 2 problems that I ran into trying to work this short stack, right? The 2 problems that I ran into were, the biggest one was time, right? The second one was bet size. You can't regress, right? My preferred way, and what I did most of the day, was regress. I would go 110 inside or 160 across, take a hit and come down 1 level. I went from 160 across to 66 inside probably 3 or 4 times. That was the move of the day for me. What frankly worked for me the best was that 160 across, take 1 hit, go to 66 inside, okay? And I'm basically working on the house at that point. Here though, you're stuck. When you're in this spot here, you're stuck. That mug is hard to drink out of. I think it's too damn tall. You're stuck in a world where you have to wait it out, right? Time is my enemy here. big time, right? I'm only going to get hit on 10 out of 36 rolls. Do I have a shot to make any money on? And I waited and I waited. I forget, I think it was Ted when I did this on Ted. I waited probably 7 rolls before I took a hit. Ted was on, he was hitting the five, he was hitting the low side, the 5 and the 4, and he had a couple 9s in there. And I'm here. Here I am. I had no line bet. I had only this. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. I felt like I didn't use my money well enough when he finally hit one, which was great. It was like 7 rolls in, and here comes my 21 bucks. And then what do you do now? Right? You get that $21. What do you do with the 21 bucks after 7 rolls? And that's all you got in the world, right? That's it. I have $2 in my rack, and I got this, right? I same betted it. I took the money back to my rack, and I same betted it. And I waited another 3 rolls for the next one to hit. And he finally hit something else for me. And by the way, I worked the come out. I think I hit one on the come out. And I same betted that. And now I'm here. And then the decision comes, what do I do with what's in the rack now? Because I have a choice to make. I can go to 24 or I can grab a number. What I did was that. I went to 24 on each of them. I pressed them both up to 24 bucks and I grabbed the 9. That's how I played that. And against my better judgment, I decided to press up in here because I wanted that $28 win. I wanted to go get 28 bucks and take that quarter and grab the 5 and then drop in from my rack and get the 4 and 10. That's what I wanted to do. And that's exactly how I played that. I went up in the middle here to take a bigger hit and I got myself across. And that's how I played it. But it took me almost 11 rolls to get to 96 across, right? By the time I waited and waited and waited, and what is my exposure like at that point, right? Your exposure, I had no money on the table. I had $18 on the table or 36 bucks on the table. Not a lot of money exposed, but man, I was sitting out there with my pants down for a long time. I did not like sweating 7 rolls to get paid and another 4 rolls to get paid a second time. And then another 3 or 4 rolls to get to where I can get to here. And I felt like on that roll, I worked it good. I felt like, hey man, I'm a craps player. I'm working the shit out of this thing, right? I got all the way across. And then I think he might've hit the 10 or something, didn't matter what he hit. And I pressed up again and I got to 160. I think 1 or 2 more hits, I got to 160 and then I lost. And then he finally 7'd out, which is good. What's gonna happen, right? That's gonna happen because the average person's not rolling 13. So like roll 12 or so, I got to 160. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get a green. I'm gonna get out of here. And it didn't work out. I had to work so freaking hard to get those 2 bets to turn into this. It just I felt like I was working this table so damn hard. That's a tough place to be in. It's a hard place to play from, but that's how I did it. And I wanted to talk to you about that today because I think, what do you do? Because it's easy to look at your 100 bucks you have in your rack. And again, I think it's about 100 bucks back here. Let's make sure let me separate the way I did. And by the way, nobody remembered their, let's get this here. There we go. So there's 100 that I actually had in the rack and I got 15, 15, and 10. That's exactly what I remember looking at that going, I can't even get 3 numbers. I can only get 2. What 2 should I get? And I ended up actually then when it got to East Coast, the next shooter, and again, I had turned the $40 into nothing. I got it up here. I had about another 5 or 6 bucks in the rack from the pennies, and then I got burned on it. It's like, you could try it again, right? On him, I went come bet. So I got come bet. I think it went to the 10. Another one went to the 6, and I took the 10 bucks that I had and just threw it up there as odds on the 6, and that's all I could do, right? I took 2 shots at it, figured, well, if he 7s out early, I'll be okay, and I ended up in this position here. He hit both of them, so they both came down, and then I went inside. I took 2 hits, and I went across. Same thing. By the time I got across, it was too late, right? And that's, again, how I played that. And again, I don't know that I have the answer for you, but what's better, right? Given a world where you don't have a short stack, given a world where you've got the full 100 bucks, okay? What's better to do for you? Is it better to go let's do, we'll play a $15 table here. Is it better to do this? Let me get my ones. Go 6 and 8 and wait, like I did, for those to hit and build out, right? Expose yourself for time, let these things hit and build yourself out from it. That's option 1, right? Option 2 is to not do that, but to just go and just go across and take your $100 and go 96 across. I'm missing a couple of whites there, right? Is that the better answer? And take 1 hit or 2 hits, right? Let's roll the dice and see what we get. There's a 516, right? Take 1 hit. I guess I'm on the small screen there, right? So take your 21 and maybe same bet it. Take another one. There's aces. It's a waste of a roll. And there's your 8, 6 to 7. Of course, hit the 6 and 8 both back to back there, right? And same bet both of those and have something in your rack that you can come back with and probably pull these 2 back in and go inside and maybe just press the insides by 1 unit each. And maybe just do this. Maybe just go to 24 and 20, right? And start rebuilding your rack from the outside in that way. It's a tough call, right? You want to go 2 or 3 rolls. You want to go no wasted rolls. And the more I play, as conservative as I am, if I'm going to go right side, I'm getting to be more of the mindset of it was fun to build from here and get everything out. It would be a lot more fun to be putting shit in my rack and maybe starting out with an across bet and living in the world where no rolls get wasted. And where no rolls get wasted, it's a better world to live in, I think. So that's my personal journey from the weekend was that. It was like I said, it was fun. It was fun to build from nothing, but I would much rather, I think, play in the world where every throw counts. And I think, let me get back over here. In the world where every throw counts, I think you have a better, you have places you can go, right? When you're sitting there and you got nowhere to go, you have your whole rack on the table and you're waiting, and that time will crush you. That's a hard place to be. So, yeah, skill is saying, what do? Take baby steps and go off after a few hits and then continue for a few more hits and turn them off again. Right. And so that's what I ended up doing. Like I said, I should have turned my bets off. When I worked that hard to get to the 160, I probably should have turned them off. But working hard, but working from 2 numbers, right? I even played the 5 and 9 ladder for a minute there. I think I played the 5 and 9 ladder. I forget who I played it on. Because again, I was down to that 100, all I had was $100. I'm like, I'll play the 5 and 9 ladder for this player. And it worked out perfectly. We hit the 5 and 9 twice each, and I used that to spread out. But having only 2 numbers in action is really hard. You got to work, and you got to hold on to those wins because they don't come very often, right? That you can't just press up the first win you get when you have 2 numbers playing. You got to either spread it or hold on to it and get out. So that was a question too. I'm going to go back to the table. I'm going to ask you this question. I'll actually run this as an option for you too, because here's another thing, which is this. Let's go pull all this down. If you're at, let's say the 6 and the 8. All right, let's pull these guys down here. And let's say that it works. Let's say that, you get the $21 on the 8 after a few rolls, right? Let's say like me, it took 6 rolls or 7 rolls to get here, and you get 2 hits on those things, or even 1 hit. When you're at roll 7, what are you doing? Like skill alludes to it here, right? Do you do this at roll 7? You get 2 hits out of 7 rolls, and do you just say, turn me off? Right? Do you turn me off, or do you spread me out? And there's your decision, right? Do you turn me off, or do you spread me out? Because if it takes you 7 rolls like it did for me to get those 2 hits that I got, that's what I was wrestling with. Do I turn these things off and take that, essentially doubling my money that was out here, and be happy with that? Or do I say, this guy's is rolling well, I'm going to spread myself out with those wins? It's a tough call to make when you're down there to the nubs, right? And I think that's what I want y'all to think about. So we're gonna talk all this week about that. This whole week I'm going to work on this versus that all week long. And it's not like an indictment of one way of playing versus another way of playing. It's going to be an exploration of the exposure. Is it better to wait to get a couple of things to hit and work your way out? Is it better to just dump your rack, take one hit, and go back down and be in waiting mode, right? Going from 160 across to 66 inside is a great way to do it if you can afford to take that potential PSO in there. So there that is. So that's, I see Jeff's here. Good. Hey, good morning, Jeff. How are you doing, man? Yeah, I was singing your praises earlier about how much money you made, everybody, and how you crushed me earlier in that long roll of yours. So it was pretty cool. Let's see, Dear Abby, should we spread out or turn off? Yeah, that's the thing. What do you do? It's so hard to know, right? And like I said, when I had my money all out there, I'm like, what do I do? You know, I'm waiting for Ted to throw anything that's going to make me some money, right? And I'm like, shit, I got 2 bets out there. And it took 6 rolls or 7 rolls to get one of them to hit. I'm like, I got to turn these bets off. It's been too long, you know? And then the other side of my brain turns on and I say, what we all know to be true, which is the 7 doesn't know that it's 6 rolls in. The 7 doesn't care. Every roll's different. If there's nothing that says after 7 rolls, the 7's coming, right? Statistics say that it's about gonna show, but that's not the truth. So that's why I didn't turn them off. I just felt like rolling with it. Anyway, there's that. Let's see, what else to talk about? I think that's all I had planned for today. We can roll a little bit if you'd like to. I got another 10 minutes or so. I might roll the dice a little bit just to change my view here. Just go table zoom. Yeah, Vince, and this is and I said this earlier, maybe you didn't hear me say it. The entire point, that my table looks really washed out. Hold on, let me fix something here. The entire point of playing this game is for fun, right? And that can't be understated, and especially when you're playing with all the people that we played with, right? And the whole point of being out there was to play with folks. Let me change that view a little bit. There's that. Sorry about this. It's so weird and bright for some reason. That looks a little bit better. But you all can't see the back wall. There's the back wall. All right, there we go. Anyway, the whole thing was about fun. And I said, the money that I brought, I fully intended to lose it. And like we said, when we all went up early, the decision was, well, shit, we're at 20% on shooter number 1. Let's all go eat. Like, no, man, everybody wants to play. We all want to shoot. So you hang around longer than you probably ought to. It turns out to be a good decision for us all in the long run. But under normal circumstances, you wouldn't do that. Here we go. Let's just roll a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and play it. Let's do 500 here. And I'll roll it randomly. There's gonna be 150, 150. There's 150. All right, so I got 150 per shooter. Essentially, I'll do 175 per shooter. We'll do 160 across. I'll do it 3 times. I have some change here. And I'll do it just like I would. There's 160 across. And we're gonna go 160 across to 66 inside. That's gonna be my play, and work it that way. So we'll YOLO it. Essentially, it's gonna be a YOLO kind of a strategy coming out. And then we'll single press back to color. Okay, 437. And where was that earlier, right? There's the 8. All right, point's gonna be 8. Again, we're not on the line here, so we're gonna be on the 8. For you, we'll take 1 hit if we can get it. There's the 8, it pays 35. Okay, and then we go back down to 66 inside, right? There's 55. We'll need that there. And so coming back to the rack is 125 comes back to the rack minus this here. So let's go ahead and get these bets reset. Three. These 2 become whites. There's my change. So coming back to the rack, from that regression, I'm not quite back to even again, right? There's 125, so I'm $50 light, but I'm playing on the inside now, right? So I took the first hit, regressed down to this, and now I can work this into hopefully something, right? Get a new point established here. There's a 9 for the point, and here I go. We're on the 9, and now I'm gonna single press to green, and then I'm gonna spread out if I can. So there's a 6, 2, 8, and that'll pay $21, and I single press it. And I'll take these 3 here and grab the 10. So I'm gonna be aggressive with what I did. This is exactly what I did at the table. Again, if we can make it work, we make it work. There's a 5, also pays $21. Single press, grab the 4, back in my rack. Now I've got $4 in my rack, essentially. And I'm still working on, I need to get some money back to get the shooter right. But in a couple of hits, I've got the across. And I'm not totally safe, right? I have not recovered my bets. This is not a super conservative play, but I'm working myself outside. Now I got a 10. That'll pay $29. Okay, for the 15. I'm sorry, yeah, 28 for the 15. Yeah, no, what the hell am I doing? All right, so I'm gonna take this right here. I'm gonna grab nickels for it, for the quarter, and bring them both up to a quarter. That's what I did at the casino. So these both become quarters. There's that. And again, those come back to my rack. And again, I'm not working my rack just yet. I'm not trying to win anything in my rack just yet. I'm just getting the, oh, that 5 is mine. I'm just trying to get myself to where I can be where I want to be. And there's a 9, 6, 3, 9. That again pays 21. I'll bring it to 20. I'll bring this back to the rack. And now I'm starting to do the single press on the inside number. So I've got the 5 and 9 both at 20. The 8's at 24. The 6 is at 18. So one more hit in there and I'm collecting green chips. There's a 10, 6, 4, 10. It's gonna pay 50 for my vig. And what do I do here? 5 and 9 both look like a quarter, right? That's how I paid myself there. And I'll get my 6 and 8 both up to $30. So I'll press these both up. So I'm gonna take $6 for the 8 and $12 for the 6 and get them both to 30. I'll take that outside hit and get my inside numbers where I want them. And now I've worked myself to 160, and now I feel like I'm good. This is almost exactly the run that I had at the table, right? Where I worked from basically nothing, grew it up, and now I'm at 160 across, and I'm still going here, looking for, oh, that was the point, by the way. So the new point's gonna be 5. No payment there. Can I get a green? Can I get a green chip? And there's a 3-3 hard 6, which pays $25. And here's the point where I can say, what do I do here? Right? I worked really hard to get to the green level, right? I can same bet this and look at my rack right now. If I take this money, I go back up in there, I take these reds and make it a green. There's my starting bankroll, right? There's my 175 for each of my 3 shooters. I'm back to starting. This is all profit in the front of my rack, and this is all profit. So you got to remember to look at that and go, well, shit, that's hard work. It's all profit. Take me down, right? That's 160 in profit plus the nickels and pennies that I'd earned earlier, right? That's working it right there, and you got to be okay with doing that. What I didn't do twice was that. I thought, man, we're rolling good. I worked hard to get there. Let's take another shot, right? Let's take another shot meant that never came back to my rack. So that's the play that I did, I think 3 or 4 times in a row. And twice I got whipped on that 160 and twice I pulled it back. So lesson learned, right? That 160 to 66 and growing out from there is actually a good way to go. And it worked out for me better than come betting did. That day was not a come betting day. The rhythm was wrong for that, and it just didn't work out. So there's that. All right, back to the camera we go, and that's gonna be, I think, our show today. Yeah, good recap. I think think we had fun. I think it makes me like now I'm chomping at the bit to get out to Vegas. And another thing too is I've got a lot of people from local Washington that have been emailing me, want to come out here and play. It's so much more fun to play with people than just going by myself. So there we go. All right, that's it, everybody. I think we're gonna have to go to work. It's 9 o'clock. Let me just look at the comments here and make sure that I didn't miss anything important. Let's see. I didn't brag, Jeff. I had all my rolls were in the teens. I will brag on that. I throw like crap in the mornings because I'm just hucking them, right? When I actually sat and try and have fun and do it, I was doing really good. I had 315 rolls. It did good. The helicopter toss was great. It actually worked out. It was so much easier to throw from the right side than I thought it was going to be. It actually worked out super good. And Skill, you're right. You don't have a crystal ball. You expect the 7 to roll. Be prepared for it. I also expect the 7 not to be rolled. Like there's a 83% chance you're not going to see a 7, right? Most of the time, it's not going to be a 7. So you got to go out there and get yourself set. And I think what I just did there was a pretty good way of getting kind of set pretty quick. So Waylon, I will roll the Headless Horseman ladder out. I didn't play it at the casino because I didn't practice it. And frankly, it would have got crushed this weekend. It would have got crushed because it was such a we had all these long rolls. Your other stuff would have worked really well though. So, and a matter of fact, I'm going to talk about your stuff, I think, Waylon, the next couple of days here. I've got this interesting way of looking at the way that we ladder to press kind of a thing. So I'll bring that out here over the next few days. I have a lot to talk through with it. There we go. Let's see what else is here. This mug is so damn big, it's crazy. Yeah, I think we're good. Oh, Skill, thanks for saying that. It was hard not to do the show. Really hard not to do the show because I had no bandwidth. I had my phone hotspot only. I needed that for work. I only have so much bandwidth that I could use. And I didn't have enough horsepower to run a show. I was going to try to, but I couldn't do it. 83% chance of it not being a 7, right? You have a 16.7% chance of it being a 7. So I think that's 83% of the rolls will not be 7s. Most of the rolls will not be 7s. If you look at it that way. The 7 is easy to roll. It's easy to roll, but most of the time it's not going to be a 7. That's the way you have to look at it that way too. Like you expect it, be ready for it, but know that it's not going to be the thing. And I think that's an important piece for us to remember. From a probability standpoint, you're going to see most rolls are not 7s. They just kind of come. They just kind of come in clumps, man. And they come at the wrong time. They definitely the 7 has a watch on and it knows what time to show up at, and it's always the worst possible time. Let's see what else is here. You like how I part my? I'm not sure what that comment came from. All right, folks. Let me get to work. Tomorrow's show we're going to do a little bit more on exposure. I've got a few more comparisons I want to make. Not so much time versus money, but I want to look at. Aggressive, non-aggressive, just ways to think about things from like a this versus that sort of thing. Dr. Don't Pass asked me to do an analysis of laddering losses like Waylon does, attacking wins like Greg is doing. If you play them both, how do you catch a rhythm on either one of them? And put mine in the middle where I play them both, right? I do that offensive line where it's a bit of all three kind of rolled up there. I'll do some comparisons of those things. I want you to see what rhythm feels like, and I want to see how we can account for rhythm as we go. So, all right, you guys, great talk. Thanks everybody for being here. I'll see you on the morning. Kind of a light group tonight. This morning, slow start, but we got there. See y'all tomorrow, and we're back. Have a great day, everybody. God bless y'all.